Yeah, he got it.
All right. Call this meeting, September meeting of Lenoir County Board of Education to order. We will recognize Ms. Diane Lynch for the invocation.
Let us pray. May the words spoken in this room tonight be beneficial to the students, parents, staff, and administrators in our school system. And may we be led by the guiding principle to always base our decisions on the best interest of our young people. Amen.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next item of business is the approval of the agenda for this evening.
Move we approve the agenda.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Filippelli, second by Mr. Nobles. All in favor, raise your right hand. The agenda is approved. Next item is the board chair comments. Obviously, we want to welcome everyone back to school. Hope everyone's got a good start to this school year, and we're glad everyone is back. We're also excited this evening because we are going to be hopefully moving forward on our technology plan, which we think can make a real difference for our students. I'm not going to steal Dr. Mzingo's announcements. I think he's going to tell you some things about that. But I know this plan really has two fantastic benefits for our kids. The main one is going to be access to resources. When we provide this technology, you know, I think back to when I was in school, I had the school library and the downtown library. When we provide this technology to our students, they're going to have access literally to every library in the world. All the universities, just a tremendous amount of information, far more than we could provide them. So that's one big thing that's going to help them. The other thing is individualized learning. And we all know this is how education's been going for years. This technology is going to help us take individualized learning to the next level. Kids, we can individualize programs for each child with this technology. So we're really looking forward to doing some great things this year. Dr. Mzingo?
All right, two quick reports. We have started school. This was day 6 for us today. I do not have an enrollment report for day 6 because now, since it's all electronic, we get it the day after instead of the same day. Sometimes that's the way it works. But for day 5, our enrollment was up from last year. Our enrollment's holding steady. We were slightly up on day 5. Very encouraging for us after about 10 years of no growth to see growth last year, and it appears we're going to at least have an enrollment equal to or greater than what we had last year. So it feels very good for the school system to be stabilizing and now growing a bit, finally. I have been out to every school multiple times. It's gone very smoothly wherever I've been. Principals are reporting they've had good openings. They've been enrolling some new kids in the process, and that the teachers got started with instruction, and we're having school. As of day 1 when I was out there, we were having school, and that's of course what I expect and what I look for. I want to report just briefly on the status of our ILCPS. I'll get that eventually. No, we're still struggling with that. We are in the planning stages, of course, for how to handle the iPads, how to roll them out, how to take care of those, and how to assure that they are beneficial to the children, but yet have maintained control over what is done with the technology, because as we know, technology has an upside and it also has a downside. We're also preparing to deal with that so that the children have access to all the wonderful resources and do not have access and do not use them to do the wrong things. These are not going to be machines where students play games. These are going to be machines where they take advantage of all the massive resources that are out there to learn in a well-managed environment with their teachers. So we're in the process of having staff development. We're in the process of figuring out how we're going to deploy these, how we're going to protect these, and hopefully when we're able to roll these out to teachers first in October and students in November, we will be ready, teachers will be ready, and we'll know what we're doing. There's a couple of well-publicized districts across the nation where this has not gone well, but it comes down to lack of preparation, lack of planning, lack of staff development for teachers. You can't just buy technology tools and hand them to kids. There is a process that goes with that if it goes well. And if you do that process right, it does go well. The status report is we are engaged every day in some kind of activity planning for this project that we think will enhance our students' lives and enhance their learning. And we will do it right. No question about that. All right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Dr. Bazinga. The next section is public comment. And I understand no one has signed up to speak tonight. So we'll move forward to our presentation agenda, the financial report. Ms. Davis.
Good evening.
Good evening.
The financial report will reflect year-to-date activity by providing revenue and expenditure information as to all the sources of funds received and expended by fund and purpose as of August 31st, 2014. May I answer any questions?
Questions for Ms. Davis this evening?
And that is just make sure that the fund balance is stable right now, right?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yes. And this is, you know, you'll see it fluctuate up and then it'll go back down toward the end of the year.
Right, but I'm just saying for the start of the year, this.
Yes. We're good.
So we almost got 4 million.
We're at the level where we'd really like to maintain it, and that's what we're working on doing now, is trying to maintain just under the 4 million. I think that's very appropriate for the size system we have and our needs.
Any other questions for Ms. Davis? Having no further questions, we will move to the action portion of our agenda, the 2014-2015 budget resolution. Ms. Davis.
We've been flying this plane for a little while without having the real budget in place, but the legislature did finally get out of town, sort of. And our budget, state budget came in a little stronger than we were anticipating, certainly much better than the Senate budget started out. So there was some good news, some things we didn't like about it, but all in all, we were able to put together a budget that will meet our needs for this school year. And let us move forward with our technology project. So with that, I won't steal any more of your thunder.
Okay. The 2014-15 budget resolution, we have copies of the attachments, and the adjustments were made from the planning allotments to include the legislative approved retirement and hospitalization rates. The state budget was prepared based on actual state allotments plus the carryover funds. The local budget appropriates to $300,000 from fund balance as we originally had planned in our planning allotment. The federal budget is based on planning allotments. The capital outlay budget was prepared based on projects submitted by the capital outlay committee and approved by the county commissioners. The child nutrition budget is based on estimated revenue and expenditures. The trust fund is based on actual scholarship balances, and the other local budget is based on actual and expected grant funds. As originally planned, the teacher supplements are budgeted to increase by $100, going from $1,600 to $1,700 annually. And also, as originally planned, funds are budgeted to proceed with the digital learning initiative. On the state budget, we were concerned with the teacher assistant allotment because it did decrease. But we did have 5 positions that we did not fill. There were 5 resignations, retirements. Those positions were not filled, so our teacher assistant allotment actually covers the number that we have in state positions now. So we did not have to do any rifts on the teacher assistant positions. The funds that we had originally planned in our planning allotment from the teacher assistant allotment to cover teaching positions that we did not have this time, we were able to cover those teaching positions from the additional allotments we received from the state teaching position allotment, plus carryover funds from the at-risk. So we did not have to RIF any teacher positions. So we were kind of pleased with the budget that came in. We wish it had been better on the teaching assistant allotments, but we were able to maintain our positions.
How much did they cut the TA allotment?
From our planning allotment, it was around a little over $600,000, about a 21% cut from the planning allotment.
Which was a little different than what we saw in the news, but, you know, we were able to handle it. We went from 75 state paid teacher positions across the state to 70. Is that right? Yeah.
Let me hear that again. I want to hear the number of actual people that...
There were 5 positions, but we did not RIF. No one lost their job. We had 5 open positions.
Okay, and how many TAs are we currently going with now, and how many did we?
We have 70 state paid teacher assistants now. Of course, we have some teacher assistants paid out of other allotments, but paid out of state funds, we have 70 currently. We had 75 last year, so we lost 5 positions in teacher assistant allotment.
Where are we losing over that?
I'm just all across the county. I can't remember how when we reshuffled them. We took enrollments and the number of teacher assistants and rebalanced those.
No, I was talking about what grade level did we?
They'll probably come out of the upper grade levels they were serving. More than likely, 3rd grade would be the first to lose those.
I think
second
we're
grade.
kind of funded now at K1.
But it would be a principal decision, and what they will do, they will split some of those teacher assistants to serve multiple teachers. But all in all, it was much lighter impact than we were expecting. So, and we were able to do it without ripping any positions.
So
without ripping any actual teachers, assistants.
So we got the same number of teacher assistants that we had last year?
No, we're 5 less.
We're 5 less?
Yeah.
But as far as teachers, we're the same?
Teachers were the same.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was that dollar amount again, Ms. Davis? You said approximately from the planning allotment. Make sure I got it.
From the planning, it was a little over 600,000.
Okay.
Yeah, 600,249.
So
that was the decrease from our planning allotment.
So it didn't impact us as bad as we thought in the beginning, but I want the public to understand it still hurt us.
It still hurt us.
Because we weren't able to fill those 5, and if TAs are having to cover multiple teachers.
We had planned on using some of that TA allotment to cover teaching positions originally in the planning allotment. But now we had an increase in our teaching allotments. So we were able to cover.
In the legislature, they actually stated they had changed the formula some, so we'd be getting a few more teachers positions, and that did cover part of those positions we were paying out of TAs.
Right.
So when you say multiple teachers, you have a TA that's having to go from one teacher to the other during the day. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, but they've been doing that for some time now.
Right.
That's not a new thing.
But just a little more of it.
But it's a little more of it, yeah.
Okay.
Have any more questions on the budget?
One more. How much did we get in the increase in the teacher allotment?
From the planning
From the planning
allotment, we increased 4.5 positions from the planning allotment.
And that translates into what in dollars approximately?
Probably about 100,
Yes.
close to 200,000 probably.
Let me ask this, and I just want to make this clear, we are increasing the teacher supplements.
Yes.
To
Yes,
all our
that was in our planning allotment,
See that?
so we left that in.
Yeah, in fact, we added $100 last December, and then we added another $100 at the end of the year. So,
And we're basically doing that from our local funds, is that where that comes
Yes.
from?
So it's an increase of 100.
$100.
$100.
They received $1,600 last year annually, and this year it's increasing to $1,700.
We actually, remember, we increased it $100 mid-year.
Mid-year.
And this would add another 100. So it's $200 more from the budget you approved last year at the beginning of the year.
So I'm glad we were able to do that.
We wanted to keep that in. I mean, it's still nowhere near where it should be.
We're working,
Trying.
we're moving it up as we can.
Any other questions for Ms. Davis about the budget resolution?
Certainly want to thank Ms. Davis for the hard work she put in to get the budget ready for you. This was a little bit of a different year in terms of her being able to do this in a timely manner for you. But once she had the final numbers, she certainly did what she had to do to get ready for your approval. I appreciate that effort.
Appreciate that.
Do we have a motion to approve the budget resolution?
Move to approve the budget resolution.
Motion made by Mr. Smith,
Second.
second by Mr. Stroud. Any further discussion on the motion? And all in favor, raise your right hand. The budget resolution is approved. Thank you, Ms. Davis. Next item is the Apple lease agreement. Dr. Mazingo and Ms. Lynch.
Well, to say we're pleased to present this item to you is an understatement. We've been seriously planning for this for about 2 years and talking about it here in the system long before I ever got here. The idea of having one-to-one technology for students and all the learning benefits that it brings has been a dream here for a long time. Tonight we're ready for you to consider the approval of the first phase of the Apple lease agreement. It would provide a laptop computer and an iPad for every teacher in the system, K-12. So the teachers, all teachers would get their technology out of this first phase. And it will provide an iPad for every student in grades K-5 as a first phase. The second phase we hope to be able to put in place next year would provide an iPad for 6 to 8 students. And the third phase would provide those iPads for 9 to 12 students. Along with the iPads, we do have carts of laptop computers available for those projects and those times when an iPad just will not be sufficient. The sophistication of the iPad is certainly well beyond, or a long way beyond where it started. And there are very few applications now that cannot be done actually on the iPad. So we feel like we have gotten the best technology, most current technology that will serve our students and serve them well for years to come. This, of course, is a lease, which means that we'll stabilize how much we spend on technology per year when all this is said and done, and we'll be able to continually have new technology to come into place when we need that. Probably after 3 years, the technology will be upgraded. It will most certainly be upgraded after 4 years, but we're really targeting for 3 years to roll these over and sell the machines that we have and redo the leases. Many systems across the nation are doing this. Many companies across the nation are doing this. It is a smart way now to buy technology or to provide technology for your customers. In this case, ours are children and teachers. So we have finally joined the modern world. And we'll take any questions you have, but certainly recommend that you approve it.
Dr. Mazingo, for the public, because when people ask me, could you explain exactly how we got the money to be able to do that so that I don't know how to answer that question.
It's, and I'll tell you exactly what you just approved, actually. It's in the budget, and I'll tell you where it's coming from.
Yeah.
It's not all new money. Most of this money we were spending on other items that of an instructional nature. For example, textbooks. We were already buying technology. We were just using a different technology and putting it in labs where students would come to it. So this is providing the technology for all the students instead of them always having to go to it. The actual funding source is $250,000 out of textbooks, because now their instructional materials or textbooks will be on their iPad. $300,000 is coming from E-rate funds, which is where, of course, federal funds we get for technology. A lot of that is for wiring and technical sources, but where you can use it for this purpose also. $250,000 is coming from our indirect costs that mainly comes from our federal projects, and Lisa can explain that in more detail if you want to, but basically we get to charge federal projects indirect costs for the cost of operating the projects. We're able to put some of that toward this particular endeavor, and that's about $250,000. $400,000, actually the biggest amount, is coming from Title I funds, which are provided to schools for instructional purposes. That's about 21% of the K-5 Title I allotment. Principals were very happy to give that up in the exchange for this project, because now they don't have to buy technology out of that at their local school and have to continually change, trying to keep that technology upgraded. So it's as I said before, it's a smarter way to buy technology and instructional materials for students, but we were already buying things, just different stuff. So it's not all money that has come out of the air that's all of a sudden new money, or we're taking it away from other projects. It's repurposing money and spending it in a different way.
Good. I just wanted the public to hear it. Okay.
Yeah, I have many questions, a lot of questions about that too, and they're reasonable questions, but there's a reasonable answer to them.
Looking at the agreement on the installments, 9/1/2014, the installment amount, and then zero interest
Yes, sir.
on that. So that's the first year. It's saying no interest.
Yeah,
Is that right?
we will not have the lease long enough for there to be interest accumulated at that point.
Okay.
By the way, the interest on this is 0.9%, which is pretty good. I like that.
That's good.
Yeah. The question is when I get over to the principal amount, which is the same as the installment amount, and then the purchase price after scheduled payments goes up, but there's no interest, and maybe I'm reading that wrong. But after scheduled payments, it goes up. So, and I may be reading that wrong because I'm not that versed in these type of agreements.
So it's actually on the schedule that you're looking at.
Schedule, installment payment schedule.
Is that the price it would be if it were purchased instead of leased?
Right.
After scheduled payment, okay. Gotcha. Thank you.
Yeah, the total project's running about 3.8 million. And of course, we just to let you, we did meet with the commissioners. I went over to present to the commissioners today. All of the commissioners expressed interest and were very positive about this project. John came over, and also Brent was there with me. They had some questions about the wording in the resolution. Their attorney was not present. I suggested some wording that will actually work, but without the attorney, of course, they were hesitant to approve that. They did agree to call a special meeting in order to approve this once they can get the questions answered about the wording in the resolution. Our attorneys actually prepared the resolution for them. It came straight from the law. You read the law and you read the resolutions, it says exactly what the law says. But of course, they need to have their comfort level and have their questions answered also, so I certainly fully understand that. But they're very supportive of this project, as I think John would agree. And I think as soon as they can get their questions answered, they'll call their special meeting and pass the resolution, which then would be the final piece we need to move forward. Any other questions or comments?
Can you just speak a minute about how we're going to maximize the residual value when we go to trade in or cash out these leases for these items? There's a plan in place to do that?
There is a plan, and if it's okay, I'm going to let Mr. Williams address that, because we've been working very closely with this and to find out how other systems are doing it and what we think we certainly can take advantage
and
of.
I just think people need to understand this is an ongoing process. This is not by technology and then in 10 years we're going to have 10-year-old technology.
No.
Right. Generally speaking, for instance, the MacBook Airs.
Brent, would you come up so people would catch this on the mic and people will
Sure.
be able to hear it?
Generally speaking, in looking at trends and what other school systems have done, the different devices have different levels of residual value over time. The MacBook Airs retain more of their value than the iPads, but worst case scenario with the iPad Airs that we ordered, the projection is at least a third of their value after they retain at least a third of the value after 3 years. And Apple doesn't buy back devices, but they do partner with and recommend third-party resellers. And they have preferred vendors for that have worked with a lot of other school systems, and we've looked at that and talked to them. And as far as exploring anything in greater detail, we've not, other than investigate simply how it works. And how it works is at the end of the 3rd year of the lease, a lot of school systems trade in the iPad in our case, and we would have some MacBook Airs as well to trade in, or they sell to the trade-in is the terminology often used, but really it's they sell them to the third-party vendor, and then they're able to pay off the 4th year of the lease and start with the new lease for that cycle, and they do that perpetually and during the 4th year. And if you can, if your products are stable, and we did talk to some systems. In fact, when we were in New Orleans for the School Boards Association meeting, we talked to some school districts down there that had purchased some laptops, Lenovo laptops, and they did not retain the value over time. So when they attempted to do the end of the 3rd year to trade in, that didn't work for them, and the numbers just weren't there. But one of the positive aspects of the Apple devices is they are pretty stable in the way that they retain their value over time, and the market trends have borne that out. And we're hoping to certainly capitalize on that if those trends don't change at the end of 3 years. There certainly wouldn't be any guarantees, but that's what other people have done, and that's what we've investigated and what we plan to do and hope for.
And I can tell you, as a superintendent that has done this once before, it does absolutely work. In fact, I did have one occasion where I have completely refreshed after 2 years instead of 3. So the apples do have residual value. You can sell them, and you can refresh in a very timely manner.
Because of cost and with current trend projections, 2 years would be very ambitious for us. But 3 is pretty standard after 3 on a 4-year lease. So that's what we're hoping to do.
So we can use these for 3 years and then still get back a third of what we put into them.
Right.
As we turn it over and
if
look
current
to
trends
another
hold,
lease.
if current trends hold true for the, and that is for the iPads. Now those percentages are even better and more beneficial to us with the MacBook Airs, the laptops.
But there's no guarantees, though, are there?
No.
Yeah.
You don't want to guarantee that for us?
So,
No. For the cameras, I will say no.
but the worst case scenario on that is just use it the 4th year, and then we get new technology. So we'll never go more than 4 years without refreshing the technology.
So this
Maybe we'll do it sooner.
Right.
rolling over includes the PCs as well, the teachers' units.
Yes,
as well,
it includes all the technology we'll be buying now. The
Everything
laptops
that's
and
purchased will be
and
on the
iPad,
refresh
yes.
side.
Yeah. It is our plan to not buy computers anymore.
Well, I see that on further in the agenda, we got stacks of stuff that we can't.
It's unbelievable.
It's unbelievable, we got rooms filled with that stuff.
Yeah, it is, but
And that's,
Big rooms.
that's been the case for a number of years, and we're
Yeah.
really hoping to address that permanently and never get to that point again.
Right.
yeah, we'd much rather sell them and be rid of them than have to put them on the surplus list.
Brett, before you leave, could you add, because this is a question that everybody in the neighborhood wants to know is, we're going to give these kids computers, and they're saying, how do we protect these computers? How do we keep people from stealing them? All this stuff, you know. Can you talk a little bit about that, what the plans are?
Absolutely. Those are two very valid concerns, and I would certainly have those as a parent of a Door County school student. I certainly have those concerns as well. My child is 8 years old, and he's very responsible in some respects, but he's a child too, and he drops things, and it's sometimes hard on his equipment. His iPad is damaged right now. But we are purchasing cases. That's part of the reason that one of the reasons that we've tried to move so quickly, because there is a promotion right now with Apple and the cases. In doing our research, we've been told that protecting the corners when iPads are dropped is key to protecting the device from shattering and breaking in other ways, protecting the screen. And I mean, we've all seen with OtterBox cases and cases of that type. Otter's just one brand, but all types of cases. You've seen the demonstrations with the iPad, or if you haven't, you can see that on YouTube with the demonstrations with the iPad that they hold up and drop and it doesn't break. We'll have cases like that, and our cases will also turn into it'll be similar to Mr. Smith's case, and you can, except it'll be the hard case. I don't know if that one is, but it will turn it. It'll have a stand, a kickstand they call it, and the student will be able to actually stand it up on the desk as his is. So the breaking issue. Now that's not to say that a child couldn't take it and smash it against something and break it, but most of the breaks that you have with them, and that's what we're, again, not just theorizing, but what other districts are reporting to us. When we did the site visit to Maryland, the large school system there, Apple facilitated that for us. One of the things they told us was you need to look at two things. You need to look at the protecting the iPads. A lot of systems, including that one, initially didn't do it because of cost. Because when you pay for the iPad, then you don't want to pay for a case that could be $50 or more, but we were able to get cases for less than half that, and they'll do the same thing and they'll protect them. So we feel very good about that. And we also, the other issue you mentioned was theft, and we're working to plan now for that in terms of security, and Apple has built-in security measures. Nothing's going to keep an iPad if someone's attempting to steal it. No security measures put into place, technological security measures are necessarily going to prevent that. But they do have features that are more attractive than we've ever seen. Like the iPad can be rendered useless to a thief, and part of the training program with parents and kids when they come in and they go through this boot camp, they call it, initial training program, is to make them aware of that. And it renders the device completely useless, and neither a thief nor anyone else could use the device. With our mobile device management system, our MDM, every device will be enrolled. When we first get it and we start up the device, the child will enroll, or the teacher will enroll the child in the system, and then that iPad can be tracked, just like Find My iPhone feature that many of us use. It can not only be found and located, but also things can be pushed out to it. Applications and such can be pushed out to it, so we can use that instructionally. But from a bare bones standpoint of security and management of the device, we can not only know where the device is, but also literally turn that device on and manipulate the device remotely, or shut it down so that it's not useful to anybody for anything. And larger districts have reported that their number of stolen devices have gone down. That doesn't eliminate it. Theft is a part of a society, and it's something that we should all be concerned about. but we're trying to plan for it in the most effective way possible, realizing, of course, that it could happen and might happen. But we're trying to make our policies and procedures such that we've addressed every potential opportunity for that as effectively as we can.
The other piece of that is we'll make it very public knowledge that these, if you steal these, you're not going to profit from them. And so Mr. Holmes certainly will help us with that, to get the word out that these are well protected. And you might steal one, but there's not a pawn shop out there anywhere that's going to pay you anything because it's going to be useless.
But what we're absolutely not going to do, and Dr. Mozingo referenced that earlier, one of the 5 largest school districts in the country during the last year in fact, implemented a one-to-one technology initiative. And if you really want to see a blueprint of lessons for reflections on what maybe not to do, you can look there. And that's not a criticism, it's just a fact. And that's been in every national media outlet around. But we've all, I think, all school systems can and have learned lessons from that. And the biggest lesson is, don't buy a bunch of flashy new devices and just hand them out to kids without a strong plan, without some training for both parents and students, in addition to the training that your staff members have had, and to develop a strong plan for what to do in these eventuality situations that do come up, theft, breakage, things like that.
Good. Awesome.
Okay, good questions. Any other questions? If not, I highly recommend.
I'll make a motion to approve the Apple leasing agreement for the Digital Learning Initiative.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Hill, second by Mr. Smith. Is there any further discussion on the motion? We'll call the question. All in favor, raise your right hand. Passes unanimously.
Thank you.
I want to thank Dr. Mozingo and his staff for all their hard work on this technology initiative.
Thank you.
And all the work you're going to do in the next couple of months.
Work is really just beginning. So.
Absolutely. Next item is the school nutrition procurement. Ms. Smith.
Good evening. As you know, the school nutrition department requires board approval on procured bid quotes for all food items each school year, and there were 2 more that we still need to get approval on. The 2 companies returned prices for 2 different chilled frozen dispenser items to be sold as a la carte items at the middle and high school levels. Trident Beverage responded with the lowest bid on both items. Therefore, the program is recommending to award Trident Beverage as the winning bid. Only 1 company returned a bid for ice cream products. That bid was from Hershey, and since there is no issue with this company at this time, recommendation is to accept Hershey to distribute ice cream. And we're really kind of excited about having Hershey because we haven't had them before, and that's a well-known product, so we're really kind of excited about that. So my recommendation is for these 2 companies. Are there any questions?
Motion to approve.
Motion made by Mr. Braxton.
Second.
Second by Mr. Stroud. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. It is approved unanimously.
Thank you. I do have a comment, if I may, about our CEP provision. Our no-cost meals. It's a little bit early because we do have just 1 week of school down at this point, but at the high school level, which is really the only place that we had a lot of room to expand, we are finding that the students are eating meals. We've actually increased our meals about 50%. We've doubled. And that's really exciting because while our a la carte sales have gone down some, we're maintaining by seeing that meals go up, which really is something that Dr. Mozingo and I and Mr. Williams have really wanted to see, is the fact that meals are going up. So that means that they're actually eating meals, which is what we're excited about. So
on that line, parents understand they can't charge a la carte items too, right?
Yes, because we're not charging anything.
Right, they got to have it on their online account or pay for it.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you. Next item is surplus property. Mr. Decker. or Mr. Williams? One.
In your packets, you have a list of technology as was previously referenced. Mostly computer parts and some full computers that are no longer operational or that have some damage that would cost more than the machine is worth to repair. You might have noticed that you've seen a lot of surplus property come before you recently, and there's a reason for that. The reason is we're trying to change the way we do business. For a lot of years, we were accumulating a lot of, for lack of a better word, stuff. Things that might be of some value, maybe at some point in the future, broken projectors and computers that were falling apart. There might be a piece down the road that we could use from it, maybe. But then we haven't really factored in, we as a school system haven't factored in over time the cost of keeping and storing these things. There's a net cost to that. And it's really more than we can afford because we just don't have a lot of storage space. We don't have closed schools used as warehouses anymore. We're really tight in our space and what we have available. And as we embark on this one-to-one technology initiative, we are going to be cycling through with more computers. We're taking the usable computers from, they're cycling out of the elementary school, moving them to the middle and high schools. And as we're doing so, some of the obsolete computers in the high schools we're going to be cycling through. If any were valuable enough to sell, there shouldn't be, but if there are, we would ask for your blessing in doing so, but we'll need space to store them immediately as they come out of the schools. And we currently don't have it, so in trying to move this stuff out, not only because it's the right and best practices thing to do, but we also are going to need to do this pretty immediately so that we can have room for the one-to-one initiative for that phase of it to be successful. So tonight we're bringing this list before you and asking you to declare this equipment surplus for disposal.
In other words, we're going to get out of the computer junkyard business.
As you can see from the pictures, there's actually one. When I started in this role, I walked into the room and, well, I won't tell you what I really said, but I said, "What is this place? What is this? What is this?" And I was told this was a computer graveyard. So,
I know that school was happy to get
if you look at the photos, it certainly seems to be every bit that.
A motion to declare the noted technology items as surplus and discard.
Second that.
Motion made by Mr. Hill, second by Mr. Smith. Is there any further discussion on the motion? Then all in favor, raise your right hand. The property is now surplus. Thank you. Next item is an out-of-state school trip. Ms. Lynch.
Kinston High School is requesting that their band and flag team participate in the Honda Battle of the Bands Showcase in Atlanta, Georgia. This competition will take place in late January or early February.
Do we have a motion to approve the out-of-state trip?
So moved.
Motion made by Mr. Nobles.
Second.
Second by Mr. Stroud. Any further discussion about the out-of-state trip? All in favor, raise your right hand. The out-of-state trip is approved. We wish the band good luck in their competition.
I'm sure they'll do well.
Next item is a motion to move to closed session.
I move that the Lenore County Board of Education go into closed session under North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11 to prevent disclosure of confidential personnel files, to consult with the board's attorney in order to preserve the attorney-client privilege, and to consider matters relating to initial employment of an individual employee.
Motion made by Mr. Hill. Have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Noble. All in favor of going into closed session, raise your right hand. We are now in closed session. All right, we are back in open session. The next item on the agenda is the personnel report as amended in closed session.
I move we approve the personnel report as amended with the addendum.
I second.
Motion made by Mr. Filippelli, second by Mr. Braxton. All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed? The the record show there's one dissenter, Mr. Smith.
Two.
I'm sorry, two
Mr.
dissenters, Mr. Stroud. It is approved. Next item is adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by
Who's going to
Mr.
vote against
Nobles.
that?
Second by Mr. Hill. All in favor, raise your right hand. Everyone did.
Everybody wants to go home.
We are now adjourned.